Hello folks, Typhoon Carter here, and I bring to you DPP Revival Invitational 2. This is play-ins between DazzlingCream, going by also known as Hugo, and Airi. So, this matchup is for time bracket, and this is a pretty interesting pairing. So you have Hugo, who's been a long time. He's been playing for a couple years now, you know, like mostly remained on the ladder, but really start getting into tournaments relatively recently to some modest success, which I think sounds about right for him. He's also a player, I think, that's actually based out of Hong Kong, so you know that's always interesting to see. And Hugo, very creative player, somebody who can really you know, get a little bit creative in the builder with some of his sets. He loves running his Cobra Starmies, and then you know he loves running his Blissies. Like he'll try to slow the game down. So that's kind of like his bread and butter. Whereas for Airi, you know, Airi's somebody who's gonna run a bit more box standard builds. You know, has had some decent success in DPP the prior year, having been a finalist in Summer Seasonal and playing in Circuit. And you know, team tours have been a bit of a mixed bag in DPP for Airi, but you know, it should be a fun matchup, needless to say. Let's jump right in. So we got Tyranitar lead into a Starmie lead. This is a interesting matchup because if you're Airi really should not be staying in here, especially on the off chance that this Tyranitar is a Scarf T-Tar on lead. But defensive T-Tar has been kind of a thing that we've been seeing a lot more as kind of a way to deal with Spectran, like being able to kind of comfortably switch in on it, get rocks up, and just being able to take you know, hydro pumps and whatnot. But we'll see what happens here. Hugo instead got swap out. Interesting. And that's a Life Orb Starmie, so I think that's something that isn't super common. And Hugo's gonna protect here, try to scout the Thunderbolt out. The downside with Life Orb Starmie is just longevity is generally a huge problem for that, and Bronzong's gonna show up. I would expect there to be, if the Starmie has spin, I would expect it to be like a Starmie Gar. That's a possibility too. And Starmie could get a spin off here, and Tyranitar entry here. Hugo sees this coming. No! Instead, gotta get hit with Hydro Pump. Has to be careful of Custap now, and there is in fact the Custap. Custap's going to pop, and Starmie's gonna go down swinging. And Celebi will at least be able to get a kill here on this Tyranitar, but Hugo gotta save it as a sacrificial fodder. Question is this, I mean, if Airi's running this, you have to have a mag in the back, if this is not Hidden Power Fire Celebi, because otherwise Skarmory is gonna have a field day seeing a Bronzong. Nasty plots up here. Gotta instead eat a Brave Bird to the face, and this tells me that Airi must be confident enough to click Hidden Power Fire if Airi has it. But instead, nice recover there, so this might be Hidden Power Ice or Hidden Power Fire plus Leaf Storm, or like Earth Power is a possibility. I think you want Earth Power on this normally if you're gonna run Recover. Bronzong's gonna show up here, lefties is shown. But Heatran finally gonna show up on Airi's, and yeah, I'm a little bit baffled by this team that Airi has, because I think if you're running like, you know, Bronzong plus like Celebi, I think you really need to have a mag here, and Starmie's gotta eat this up, and that's a Cobra Starmie, because I know that's what Hugo usually loves running here. Recovers here. I would probably just take the spin. Instead, just got T-Wave here and full paras there, so you know, Airi not too happy about that. But Empoleon's gonna show up here and another full para, so this is kind of annoying for Airi here. And you know, superpowers here into the Skarmory. Skarmory could probably Brave Bird, but it might not kill here. Oh no, it just got crit instead, so we will never find out. And Tyranitar is gonna be the last on Airi's end. This better be Mixed Heart or something, or instead just got a superpower here, and Hugo now just, ooh, I really do not. So I think Hugo probably got caught off guard by the Tyranitar being slower, because some T-Tars do actually run speed, but I think in that scenario, I kind of get why Hugo went for it. You know, maybe you're afraid of a Stone Edge, but like to me, it's like what, like, okay, because I think if Airi has to send that, you know, because otherwise you would just send Heatran, but that's probably Scarftran. And Heatran should be sacked here. Yep, there's a sack. Question is, what's the follow-up? Hugo should have this in the bag. But you know, stranger things have happened, and Hugo just, yeah, said screw spinning. Spinning is overrated, and treats hazard removal as a suggestion, to simply put. But this Empoleon should be able to knock the Bronzong and put on a permanent timer. So yeah, that's gonna come back, and Hugo might try to manipulate this Empoleon into Torrent range later on in the game. Latias could, don't forget, Trick does not work if it gets knocked. Works both ways, but nice maneuvering from Hugo there to cast Surf and wear this Bronzong down. And don't forget, Hugo still has a unrevealed here. And last is Lucario. Lucario got close combat here. Question is this Scarf? Is this? That might be Scarf. And Celebi is going to show up here. I would just pivot Latias here, but alright, I'm not really sure about this. Okay, T-Wave's here and gets another full para. And Rapid Spin's here. Yeah, Airi not too happy about this. And there's the nasty plot. I mean, if you're Hugo, at this point, like, just misses Hydro Pump, okay. Trying to PP stall the Starmie because you want have it stay out of Lati range, but oh, right as the Earth Power comes in, so right on schedule, and Airi might have to try to play around this, but just gotta eat a Leaf Storm here, and that Latias is going to probably be able to recover. It's probably Hidden Power fighting if Hugo is just comfortable making that move. And Dragon Pulse is there instead, which is a nice mid-ground there. And yep, it's Hidden Power fighting. Does not matter, and this Celebi is as good as done. So Hugo should have this game won. I think there were several spots where Hugo made it, gave Airi some opportunities to try and come back from this game, like, you know, just T-waving the D-Knight instead of and yeah, even Airi saying that Starmie that should have died. And Airi said the game would have been much more different. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, because I think if Hugo also took 8 million years to you know, get rid of those hazards, which should be classified as malpractice for hazard management. But hey, honestly though, I think that Airi could have probably had a chance to come back, but the thing is, you have to remember, if that Starmie goes down, you know, you invite Latias in, you also invite, you know, T-Tar in. I mean, I don't know how bulky that T-Tar is, if that T-Tar is some HP investment, which given that it was slower than Skarm, I'm inclined to believe that's the case. Then yeah, maybe Hugo was still won, but, you know, that's not what we're here to talk about. We got a game 2 though. Anyways, yeah, here we are, game 2. To Scizor leading to Azelf lead. This is not what Hugo wants to see, because the Scizor 99% has to be Scarf if you're going to be leading off of that. Scizor's probably just go U-turn, break the sash. Yep, there's that. Probably just take your rocks if you're Hugo, and yep, there's the sand. Azelf's gonna go down, so, you know, both players kind of getting what they want, and Gyarados is going to come right in. So huge Stone Edge miss there, because Hugo is obviously a noob. I'm kidding, but Waterfall's here, gets poison pointed. You know, me personally, I would have just simply avoided the hacks, but hey, that's not what we're here to talk about today. And Airi's just got pivoted around this Gyarados here, and Rotom going to be a huge threat. As per what Hugo's got in the back here, I would expect there to be a D-Knight, D-Tar, probably a Metagross, and then Latias. That's probably the 6 that I'd be guessing here. And then as for Airi, you know, I think PDCs ran a style of team similar to this. I mean, you probably want a Laddie in the back and then another steal. You want a second steal for sure. Like Jirachi would fit the profile here. I think Heatran could be an interesting choice too, but needless to say, we got a game to play though, and this yeah, that's kind of the thing is that a lot of these teams tend to struggle, and oh man, not what you really want to see if you're Airi. And okay, yeah, there's the second steal. It was Empoleon, and Airi can safely pivot in, knowing that usually if this Gyarados' Water Ball return, it's usually carrying Taunt or T-Wave in this case. Last, and yeah, Hugo also has a he is a sicko, let's just say, when it comes to T-Wave. Like, yeah, Siva and Gyarados, I really don't love running T-Wave on that variation in particular, just because I feel like you really need something to deal with phasing. But you know, maybe that is you know, Trick Iron Ball Metagross. I don't know for sure. Oh, there's the Heatran. Okay, yeah, clearly I am off on my reads today. Yeah, but the last here I would probably expect there to be a T-Tar, because you need something else that can kind of take on the Laddie or like punish a Draco and fly, and that's a Mixcon. Interesting choice here. I guess it's Roserade with spikes, which, I mean, I suppose that makes sense synergistically. And just got Surf here, and Roserade should be down for the count. Yeah, this has to be like regular spikes on Rose. If you're gonna run Mixcon, because I'd say that's one of the big things, is you usually want to have spikes in some capacity. Scissor's got Force of Pursuit Trap here. Laddie has to go down. This is gonna invite Meta or Heatran in. Question is, what's the follow-up going to be? Oh, huge Meteor Mash missed there, but Rotom could get free Pain Split off. Meteor Mashes again. I would probably consider subbing up here so that you can kind of cover the Heatran switch if you have it, but Airi might not have that. Rotom just wearing down this Heatran real nicely, and Fire Blast is here. Honestly, knowing how Airi's luck is gone, I was surprised that T-Tar didn't get burned, but Crunch is here. That's a big CB Crunch if I've ever seen one. You go right back to Rotom, try to stuff that Meteor Mash, and then it would have had enough for a sub, I believe, give or take. But Thunderbolt's here. Oh, sorry, I lied. No, it would have died to Sand Chip. That would have been really awkward, but Rotom's just got T-Bolt here, and I would just T-Bolt once again, make it show, you know, Scarf. Oh, looks like it was Scarf, and that Hugo was so behind trying to go for a prediction there, and that Starmie is going to just go off, and Scizor now can just U-turn for free and pretty much seal the game. And Airi is going to tie this game up, and it's going to be 1-1. So, you know, we got a rubber match here. Airi, despite some terrible luck early on, was able to kind of snatch that advantage back. The Rotom was huge, being able to get that down, and then especially Airi also did a good job, like recognizing what his counterplay to Gyarados was, especially once it revealed Return as a coverage move. So, you know, great early game pivoting from Airi there. And to be honest, Airi probably should have won this even sooner. My issue with Hugo's team here is that, one, you really see what not running, you know, T-Tar in some capacity can really do to a team, because the Rotom issue here was like much more noticeable, because especially if Airi had Substitute, I think Hugo would have been in even more trouble, because, you know, it can sit behind a sub, it can annoy you in a bazillion different ways. You know, it can sit behind a sub, you know, fire off its stab moves. Like, yeah, like even like Heatran, like, you know, you're opening yourself up to getting hacks if it's sitting behind a sub, right? So like the Rotom issue really shows, I think this game showcases how, like, you know, Rotom can be a big headache for hyper offenses, and then you know, Scizor, you know, Scarf Scizor is a really good anti-lead against something like Azelf hyper offenses, and we kind of see it on full display here. And again, you know, Flygon with, I mean, wait, oh, there was an off chance that this Flygon might have been, you know, maybe it wasn't mixed Flygon. I mean, if it was mixed Flygon, I could totally see it. Maybe it could also be a double scarf structure from Airi because of the fact that one, like Scissor or speed control alone is not enough because... Actually, yeah, I think this is probably just free attacks Flygon that just so happens to have, you know, Scarf. It might not be mixed, but, you know, whoever actually knows the team, feel free to comment down below. Anyways, that being said though, we have a game free. So, game free here, loser goes home. Jirachi lead into a Metagross lead. This is a lead matchup that, you know, Airi should be salivating at right now. You can get rocks up, you could put instant pressure right now on this Jirachi with an EQ, you know, make it get rid of its Sugarberry or something like that. And then, you know, if it's Lumberry, then, you know, you can kind of play around hacks because Fire Punch usually does not do a crazy ton to Metagross. Stealth Rocks here, yep, there, take the EQ. Meta could easily get Stealth Rocks up now, but this could be Trick Iron Ball too. Scarf's gonna get spikes up here, Trick Iron Ball, yup, and then Stealth Rocks here, Meteor Mash, okay. And then, yep, there's the Rotom. 6 turns in, Airi has not even shown his entire team. As for Hugo, if I see lead Rachi, I see Scarm, I see Rotom. What I'm probably thinking here is that this is probably Mixcon's semi-stall, or... So usually that 6 would feature, besides Lead Jirachi, Scarm, Rotom, you would have Clefable, you'd have Latias, and then you'd have Mixcon to kind of round it out. Probably Attack Investment Mixcon. As for Airi's team, I mean, this is probably just a meta offense, you know, Lati, T-Tar, and then, yep, there's the Will-O-Wisp. And Airi just probably looking to just get whatever damage you can get off. And just gotta stay in. Nice play there from Airi, just recognizing that the meta has already done its job, crippled the Scarm. And it's probably Roxless, so the Rocker here could easily be something like a Bronzong, could easily be Heatran. 2 Meteor Mash is here. You could consider exploding and just getting a clean entry for later. But just got EQ. Scarm's gonna roost up. So... But the problem is that that Scarm is kind of dead weight. Especially because now, like, you know, something like DD Tar can just spam EQ. Or, you know, like a DD Knight or whatnot. So, you know, that's kind of the big issue that you're gonna have to deal with. And Hugo is just kind of forced to waste all these roosts. Explodes here. That is probably... the most inexplicable spike, like taking that 3rd spike, just roost there, man. Like, what are you waiting for? I cannot even believe my eyes that, you know, but now Hugo is opening himself up to this T-Tar potentially KOing it, or like, you know, doing some crazy D-Tar things if it is. And then Flygon's gonna come in into defensive T-Tar with Stealth Rocks, and Airi's gonna show his own Flygon. This Flygon is bluffing Scarf right now. There's the U-turn, so big stay in from Hugo, but just got Draco there. I really don't know about this. I don't know about Dracoing there for a couple reasons. Because one, there's a few reasons why I completely hate this Draco on Hugo's end. For one, if you're going to stay in and you think, hey, this Flygon's gonna U-turn out, why even Draco? Because, yeah, Airi's gonna have to scalp for that Draco anyways, right? Like, Dracoing doesn't make sense. I think EQ or Fire Blast would be the click I'd be making here. Because, like, you know, hey, maybe, you know, there's a Rotom or something that's coming, like... I completely hate this, but now this Scissor's gonna threaten a Bullet Punch KO. Oh wow, great. Yeah, there goes your Flygon. So, you know, there goes your primary win condition on this team and your primary form of speed control, especially if this is not Scarf Jirachi. And I think, yeah, this might have been like a variation of a 6 that I made before. There's the Fire Blast, and oh great, now it just got burned. So your Skarmory, if it wasn't super chopped, well, it most definitely is now. And Flygon's gonna come in here, going to EQ. Yeah, you're gonna invite the Rotom in, and it's gonna get a Will-O-Wisp off for free, but like, This T-Tar, it's just gonna get sacked. Yeah, I mean, good T-Bolt there, but like, again, you're super behind now, and this Dragonite, if it is Lumberry, then you are in major trouble because that Jirachi is weakened down. And as far as I'm concerned, if the 6 is what I think it is on Hugo's end, like you're in major trouble here, and it's not even Scarf Jirachi, so you know the Clef's gonna show up, it's probably gonna get KO'd, yep. And that's probably gonna be a game. But yep, okay, pops the Lumberry, and yeah, game's over. Airi's gonna win this series 2-1. This game 3, I mean, Airi did well to, you know, get the Trick Iron Ball off onto the Scarm. And then, but if you're Hugo, you know, like, I think, okay, I don't completely blame him for that, but my thing here is, like, this needs to be Scarf Jirachi, right? Like, oh, okay, well, maybe Hugo, maybe it was like, yeah, I think, because I made a team with this 6 before that Hugo was running, or rather, I had a revised version where this was pre-Sleep Man, where it was, I think it was 308 speed on Scarf Jirachi or something like that, where it was like 286, but I'm pretty sure it was 308 because I needed a way to deal with Lucario or Lead Rose at the time. But this is kind of a textbook example of why, you know, you need better speed control, because generally on the 6, and I remember talking to BKC about this a while back when we teamed up together in Royal PL last year, was that this 6 was pretty much, it was just too slow, right? Like, you need a way to deal with Gengar, you need a way to deal with Starmie, and that's generally one of the biggest reasons why you might want to run Scarf Jirachi here. And then the other big thing I would say is that, you know, like the turn where, I believe this was turn 14. No, I'm trying to look back. I'm pretty sure it was one of the early turns. Yeah, it was turn 13 where, you know, when the Metagross explodes, taking that third spike was like, what are we doing here? Because you want this Scar to be at full health. Yeah, you're crippled by the Iron Ball, right? That's fine and all. You need to roost there, because that way you can still at least take a random blow from like a Flygon or like, you know, a Dragonite, because again, Skarmory is naturally just very, very bulky, even with the added ground weakness, right? So that's my big thing. And then the other thing I think that just drives me nuts was like, and then the Flygon turn was like just completely misplayed. Like, yeah, I get it, you want to snipe the, like, okay, if you EQ or Fire Blast and you run straight into Latias, here's the thing, you're not in trouble, right? Like, you have a Clefable to lean on, right? Like, Dracoing to me was just, that was like probably the worst click you could have made with Flygon if you were ever gonna stay in anyways. So, you know, I feel like Hugo had some chances to really put himself ahead in this game, but it was just self-inflicted wounds, was kind of what it felt like. And credit where credit's due for Airi was that Airi did a good job recognizing, like, you know, sometimes the best play is to just keep it simple. Sometimes you just don't have to overthink it, right? Like, you just bullet punch here, right? Because you had plenty of tools to get around Scarm, to get around Hugo's team, and that's the most frustrating part about this, I think, like, you know, just watching this. But regardless, still, Airi's gonna move on, and then Airi will be playing the winner of Trax versus Django. So if you haven't caught that series, go check that out. But that being said, though, if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and consider donating to DPP Revival Invitational 2's prize pool. If we can hit about $1,000 by the end of this tournament, that would be great. That being said, though, I will see you guys next time.